Hi guys, it's Mrs. C here with Cycle 2, Week 14. We are gonna jump right in. So, geography, we have the Baltic Sea area. So we just learned last week the kind of stuff up the north side of the Baltic Sea. So we're gonna come down around where it curves around there and learn these little tiny countries. The kids probably haven't heard of a lot of these before. They may possibly, depending on the age of them, heard of Belarus recently, but a lot of these will be fairly new for them. So I will just probably have the kids go through. We will mark each of them. They just go from the north down to the south and kind of curve around pretty easily. So we'll go through and label all of them, and I will probably just do the initials, so a big E, big L's, P, and a B for all of the different ones, and we will go through those a few times. Again, I will review the areas around there that we've already talked about, and we'll just kind of go over all of that. If you have younger kids, this is a fun one to maybe bring in little figures, to let the little figures go from one to the other because they're right there really close together. So it's an easy one to do that with. You could have them hop, or you could have them slide, or however you want to do that. But it's an easy one to bring little figures since it's all the countries. You're gonna slide. Yeah, you have a new slide, don't you? So that's what we do for geography. While our geography and maps are still out, we're gonna move into history because we have another one of these history sentences where we have people from countries. And I find it easier for me to remember which two go together when I have a visual. And I also like to help the kids connect where these things in history are happening, because they are happening in locations that we're learning about. So I will, if you want to be simple, you can, you let them with their dry erase pens. If you have a class that's old enough to use those, have them just put the initial of who we're talking about. So example, Clemenceau of France, you can just put a C in France, and you can put an L or an LG in England, and N2 in Russia, a W2 in Germany, and a W in the United States. I will probably use my big Europe map because that's what we will have been on for geography. So I'll just put a W and then kind of draw an arrow over towards the United States is what I intend to do. And that will just help us with these names and where they're from. If you have a younger class, you may choose to do maybe a little picture or something like that. We also have, I know people have made the history sentences. Wow, sorry, my brain is not working. The history sentences that are already in pictures. So this might be a good week for a younger class to do that. So they have some pictures to go along with these names and places. So there's not necessarily a lot of action that's happening in this history sentence like some of our other history sentences. It's more just a list. So anyway, so I have a big map that I have had made, and so I will have that up, and I will put them up on the board myself, and then I will let my students do it on their own map. You could also, if you don't want to like print a picture or something, you could let them use sticky notes or those little sticky tabs or something like that. You could do that. That'd be an easy way to have something that's already done that will stick on where you'd like it to. So anyway, that's how I will do history, by using our maps as well to help them put the people and the places together. Then after history, we'll move into Latin. While we are putting all of our geography and all of our pieces from that away, we'll probably just chant our Latin really quick, because again, I have the oldest class at our campus this year. They are not they're not going into Challenge A next year, but they are the older kids, and they have this Latin down pretty well. So we will just chant, and usually I whisper it. We whisper chant it, OST, OST, and we just kind of chant it while we're putting stuff away. And then we'll gradually get really louder and chant it once really, really loud. If you have a younger class and you feel like you need to actually not just do this as you're doing something else and you want to really focus on it, you might play hot potato, which is kind of what we did last week. But a fun way to kind of mix it up is, rather than have the kids face each other, have them face outward and play hot potato that way. And that way they can't see when the ball or whatever you're passing around is coming to them until the person next to them. So they have to kind of wait and see when it gets there. So it just adds a little extra layer of suspense there. So that is Latin. For math, we have linear equivalents this week. So last week we had our liquid, now we have our linear. For years especially with the younger kids, we did voices and we stood and moved ourselves across the room. So we would go 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch. And we would just barely teeny tinily move our feet like we're moving centimeters. And then moving like half steps, we'd go 12 inches equals 1 foot and take little tiny steps. And then normal size steps for our 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. And then 1 kilometer equals 5/8 of a mile. And we'd take huge giant steps and see if we could get all the way across the room doing that. So if you have a younger class, that's a great thing to do. Gets them up, gets them moving. You can do it a few times back and forth across your classroom. For my older class, we don't have enough room in our classroom to do that. To have them move. I could probably go out in the hall and do it, but what I think I'm going to do is actually hide these numbers around the room. So I'll have 2.54 centimeters on a piece of paper or a card. I'll probably use a note card, 1 inch on a note card, 12 inches, a foot, and they will have to find the corresponding number. So I will say, we'll start off at 2.54 centimeters and I'll say equals, and they'll have to find the right one. So if they find 1 foot, that won't be correct. They'll have to go and they'll have to find where 1 inch is. And once they all get to 1 inch, then I'll say 12 inches equals, and then they'll have to go and find 1 foot. And we'll go through that and they'll have to find the right ones. I also am going to put, I will put 12 inches somewhere in the room. And then I'm going to do it backwards. I'm going to say 1 foot is equal to, and they'll have to find 12 inches, and I'll go backwards because, again, I have the older class, so just trying to make it a little more difficult for them. So that's what I will do with my class to get them up and moving. We don't have the space to walk all the way across the room, but we do have the space to kind of move around and find things in our room. So we'll do that. For science, we have states of matter. We're just going to do hand motions for this because it's pretty simple hand motions. So we have solid, we're going to stand really tall and stiff and straight, so solid. And then liquid will kind of be liquidy like that. Gas, of course, we're going to go like this, stinky gas. And then plasma, we're going to take and shoot our plasma gun at things. So that's what I intend on doing for the hand motion. So solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. Solid, really stand still and solid. Liquid, we're kind of loosey like this. Gas, and then plasma, we're gonna shooting our plasma gun and stuff. So then our last one for timeline is English, and we have moved on from our list, and we are now going to be doing some definitions. And if you are a tutor of a young class, I would take a moment and really encourage your parents to actually learn these English definitions because they are so helpful when you get into essentials. I did not focus on them as much as I should have, and I regret it every week when I'm in essentials trying to answer questions. So as you start learning a lot of these, we learn definitions every year, but the definitions for these next few weeks that we're going to be learning are super important. So anyway, we have an adverb. So just point out to your students that adverb gives you all the clues of what it modifies in it. An adjective, that's the add part, and a verb or another adverb. So it tells you exactly what it modifies. So an adverb modifies a verb, adjective, or adverb, okay? And then it's gonna answer 4 questions. So how, when, where, and why, okay? So if you can remember those, you've got them. So remember, adverb, adjective, verb, adverb. Those are what it modifies. So it modifies 3 things, answers 4 questions. So I don't know why that helps me to kind of break it down in that way. So I'm making sure I'm not leaving anything out. So I don't have anything really special planned for this right now. We will probably just go over it and say it. And if I feel like we need to move in class, I might let them pick a position in the classroom, if they want to hang upside down in their chair, if they want to lay on the floor, if they want to lay on their stomach, whatever, as long as they're not doing anything dangerous, I'll let them pick a position. We will probably just say this a few times. All of my students are essential kids, so they have been working on this year, so they should kind of already know it. So we'll probably just say through it a few times and do it that way. Let's see, timeline, it's our last one. So timeline, we are gonna start with Columbus. We're gonna make a C for Columbus, and then he's gonna sail. And so we're gonna have a flat hand and 3 fingers, not these 3 though, but your thumb, index, and middle finger sitting on top. And we're gonna sail our ship to the Caribbean. And then we have the age of absolute monarchs, and all we're gonna do is put a crown on our head. That's a pretty easy one. And then we have the Protestant Reformation. So let's see, I feel like I don't know if we've had this one yet. It's changed. I feel like we've done this one before. We're gonna have 2 R's, so it's your fingers crossed like this, and you're going to kind of just flip them back and forth. So this is the sign for change or reform. So we're gonna do it again in just a few cards. So Protestant Reformation, and then we have Spanish conquistadors in the Americas. So I didn't tell you the wrong sign, but I told you the wrong reason why. So we're gonna go like this for Spanish. This is the sign for Spanish, and it's because of the capes the bullfighters wear. I thought it was because of, when you look at the Inquisitors, they all have capes on too. I think capes were just a thing in Spain, I guess. But this is for the capes the bullfighters wear. That's why we do the sign like that. So this is Spanish, so Spanish conquistadors. And so we are going to do a salute. And then after we salute, we're gonna look around. The conquistadors were volunteer. They were kind of like both military and explorers. They volunteered for that. So we've got our Spanish and then salute, and then we're gonna look around. So they were volunteer military explorers. That's what we're doing for Spanish conquistadors in the Americas. We have Calvin's Institute of the Christian Religion. Kind of a mouthful. We're gonna make a C for Calvin, and then we're going to do the sign for believe. So it's gonna come from here, and we're gonna bring our hand like this. So believe that's the sign. So Calvin's Institute for the Christian. So we're gonna point to our palms, Christian religion. Calvin's Institute for the Christian religion. Okay. Then we have the Council of Trent. So the Council of Trent is where they were reforming within the Catholic Church. So we're gonna do our sign for reform again, which is again our R's, and they're just kind of going back and forth, one in front of the other. So Council of Trent, and then we're gonna take things and put them inside. So from within, okay? And then we have the Baroque period of the arts, and the Baroque period was super fancy, and it's when you think of all of like the frilly things, like I think of all the frills hanging out of people's coats, and you have a lot of shimmer and the fabrics, and just really fancy fabrics. So anyway, we're going to kind of put all these special things all over, kind of pluck all of these fancy things. That's the sign. I don't know, Baroque period of the arts. So that is all of week 14. I will hopefully in just a bit get week 15 up, and then I'm probably gonna have to take a break, and I'll hopefully tomorrow record the rest of this semester. But hopefully you guys are back into a groove with things, feeling good, and I will see you back with week 15 soon. Bye guys.